All right, welcome to the deep dive. You ever find yourself staring at a pile of data and wondering, okay, where do I even begin?
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of data overwhelm, I think we've all been there.
It's like looking at a giant jigsaw puzzle before you've even sorted the edge pieces.
Right. You need a strategy, a way to quickly get a sense of what the data is telling you before you dive into the nitty-gritty.
Exactly. And that's precisely what we're exploring today. We're calling this deep dive getting a sense of the data.
Love it. A fundamental skill for anyone working with data, really. Scientists, engineers, analysts, even just curious folks trying to understand the world around them.
To guide us, we've got some excerpts from a couple of sources on descriptive statistics, both focusing on this cool feature called the distribution platform.
Ah, the distribution platform. It's like a one-stop shop for visually and statistically summarizing your data.
And it sounds like it's going to help us cut through the noise and find those key insights, whether we're dealing with categories or measurements.
Exactly. It's all about understanding the shape of your data, and the distribution platform gives you the tools to do that quickly and effectively.
Perfect. So let's jump right in. First up, categorical data.
All right, categorical data. Think of it like sorting things into buckets. Each bucket is a distinct category.
Like colors of cars, right?
Exactly. Or types of customer feedback.
So how does the distribution platform help us understand these categorical buckets?
Well, it starts with bar charts.
So you can quickly see which categories are the most common just by looking at the tallest bars.
Exactly. It gives you a visual sense of the distribution, which categories are dominant, which are rare, and everything in between.
Now, our source mentions a red triangle hotspot. What's the deal with that?
Ah, yes. The red triangle, think of it as a shortcut to some extra features.
Like a secret menu for data analysis.
Kind of. If you click that little red triangle next to a column of categorical data, it opens up a whole bunch of options. And in addition to the visuals, the platform also gives us some handy summary statistics for categorical data.
Yeah, those are super helpful for getting a quick numerical snapshot. Let's see, what do we have here?
Well, first there's level. This is simply the name of each category. Think of it as the label for each of your buckets.
Okay, straightforward enough. Then we have count.
Right. Count tells you exactly how many times each category appears in your data set. It's the raw number behind those bar heights. Then there's prob, which is short for probability. It tells you what proportion or percentage of your data falls into each category.
So if the probability for blue cars is 0.25, that means 25% of the cars in your data are blue.
Exactly. It gives you a sense of the relative frequency of each category.
And last but not least, we have N missing.
Always important. N missing tells you how many data points are missing a value for this particular categorical variable.
Because sometimes you've got gaps in your data. Maybe some entries didn't have a color recorded, for instance.
Right. And knowing how much data is missing can help you assess how reliable your conclusions are.
And here's a neat trick. If you double-click on any of these numbers in the report, the count, the probability, the missing values, you can actually change how that entire column is displayed in the output.
Ah, yes. A handy little feature.
So to recap on categorical data, we use bar charts to visualize the distribution across categories, and then we've got summary statistics like count and probability to give us a numerical understanding. It's like getting a quick but comprehensive overview.
Absolutely. You can quickly see which categories dominate, which are rare, and how complete your data is. It's a great foundation for further exploration.
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about continuous data. What's the key difference here?
Well, with continuous data, instead of distinct categories, we're dealing with measurements that can fall anywhere along a scale.
So instead of things like red or blue, we're talking about things like height, weight, temperature, time, things that can be measured with numbers.
Exactly. Think of it as a spectrum, where any value within a certain range is possible.
And for continuous data, our go-to visualization tool in the distribution platform is the histogram.
Right. Histograms are perfect for visualizing the distribution of continuous data. And a really cool feature is that you can interactively adjust the bin size.
Oh, that sounds handy. Why would you want to do that?
Well, changing the bin size can really change the way you see the data. It's like adjusting the zoom on a camera.
So if you have really wide bins, it's like looking at the big picture, seeing the overall shape of the distribution. But if you narrow the bins, you start to see more detail, maybe some smaller peaks and valleys that you wouldn't have noticed before.
Exactly. It allows you to explore the data at different levels of granularity and find the view that reveals the most interesting patterns. Now, you can also choose between a vertical or horizontal layout for your histogram. And the vertical layout is particularly useful when you want to compare distributions across multiple columns.
Okay, I can see how that would be helpful. Imagine you've got data on sales for different regions. Having those vertical histograms side by side would make it super easy to compare their shapes and see if there are any noticeable differences.
Absolutely.
Now let's dive into the summary statistics for continuous data. The sources mention outlines containing quantiles and moments. Can we unpack that a bit?
Sure. Let's start with quantiles. Imagine you line up all your data points from smallest to largest. A quantile tells you the value below which a certain percentage of your data falls.
So if you're looking at test scores and you want to know the 25th percentile, that's the score that 25% of the students scored below.
Exactly. And there are some key quantiles that are especially useful. The 25th, 50th, and 75th percentiles, also known as quartiles, divide your data into 4 equal parts.
And the 50th percentile, that's also known as the median, right?
Yes, the median is the value that splits your data right down the middle. It's a robust measure of central tendency because it's not easily swayed by extreme values.
Right. And the difference between the 75th and 25th percentiles, that's called the interquartile range, or IQR. What's that tell us?
The IQR gives you a sense of the spread or variability of the middle 50% of your data. A small IQR means that data is clustered tightly together, while a large IQR means it's more spread out.
Okay, so quantiles help us understand the distribution and spread of our data. Now, what about those moments? They sound a bit more statistically complex.
Well, moments are really just different ways to mathematically describe the shape of a distribution. The first moment is the mean, which is simply the average value.
Okay, that's familiar.
The second moment is related to the variance and standard deviation, which tell you how spread out the data is around that mean.
Right, so a high standard deviation means the data is more spread out, while a low standard deviation means it's more tightly clustered.
Exactly.
It's quite a comprehensive set of summary statistics, and the source mentions that you can even add more statistics through that same red triangle hotspot we talked about earlier.
Yes, you can really customize the output to focus on the information that's most relevant to your analysis. It's all about giving you the tools to explore your data in the way that makes the most sense for you.
Okay, we've covered histograms and a whole bunch of summary statistics. Now, our sources also talk about box plots as another way to visualize continuous data. What are they all about?
Box plots, also known as box and whisker plots, are a really nice way to get a quick visual summary of the distribution of your data, especially when you want to compare multiple groups.
Right, I've seen them before. They have that box in the middle with lines extending out from it. What do those different parts represent?
So the box itself represents the interquartile range, that middle 50% of your data, between the 25th and 75th percentiles.
Ah, okay. And the line inside the box, that's the median, right?
Exactly. Then those lines extending out from the box, the whiskers, they show you the range of the data, excluding any outliers.
Outliers, those are the data points that are way off on their own, right?
Exactly. And they're often plotted as individual points, so they really stand out.
So at a glance, a box plot gives you a sense of the center of the data, the spread, and any potential outliers. It's a very efficient visual summary.
Precisely. And some box plots also include a little diamond shape that represents the mean, so you can see how it compares to the median.
Well, it's clear that the distribution platform gives you a powerful toolkit for exploring both categorical and continuous data. It's all about getting that initial sense of the data, understanding its key characteristics before you dive deeper.
Absolutely. And that understanding is crucial for asking the right questions, formulating hypotheses, and ultimately making informed decisions based on your data.
It's the foundation for any kind of meaningful data analysis.
Exactly. Whether you're a seasoned statistician or just starting out, these tools can really help you make sense of the information in front of you.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, here's a question for you, our listener. Think about the data you encounter in your own life or work. How could these initial steps of visualization and summarization help you uncover hidden patterns or ask new questions? What aha moments might be waiting to be discovered in your own data?
It's all about taking that first step, that initial exploration. You might be surprised by what you find.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.